So then we are back with more understandings from the time of the Second Tabernacle services, where we find the Aramaic English translation of the word. And this translation comes from the original manuscripts of the great prophets of the times past, and also the returning of the city of the Messiah laid waste for many centuries. As we read then from Yeshayahu the prophet, we always ponder why these prophets then were murdered, and what were then the reasons these people were put to death. Ever since their time, many congregations, they read the extremely important information of these holy people of old, and then we find extremely important studying the structuring of tabernacling from the time when the prophet spoke until the time that was taking place itself, and then later the 1,000 years outside of the understandings of tabernacling, and then 1,000 years without tabernacling, and then the time of the restoration where we are at. So then, from the period of Yeshayahu the prophet until Revelation is a great period of time. Roughly, we find then 700 years prior of the birth of the Savior, and then another couple of 1,000 years plus 700, it places from 2,700 to 2,800 years ever since the great prophet prophesied. Understandably, Daniel, also the 11th chapter, gives us a few understandings regarding then the time of the restoration period on a Gentile level, as per then the word used by Yeshayahu the prophet as a sprout coming from a system already taking place, and then the level of the Gentiles also organizing themselves for the new system coming from the east. For those who are the first timers understanding these section of the Holy Instructions and also the prophets and the writings, or then the Bible, it takes a bit of time of becoming acquainted with these information, and also Revelation being the very end where we find then sections of it explained in Revelation and also in Leviticus the 23rd chapter, because these couple of chapters, the 23rd and also mostly the 20th chapter of Revelation, are then intertwined. From the time of the Messiah until tabernacling, we understand, was roughly 100 years, but then the most important topic at the moment, explaining in the Gentile level, you find then very precisely what Daniel explained as then the knowledge shall increase. And the increasing of knowledge from the viewpoint of the prophet Daniel was related with the trade, because he was the minister of finances under the kings, such as then the king of Babylon, and then Belshazzar and Darius the Mede. We find then the system of Daniel implemented during this time, where then the traders, or then the freighters of the earth, they take the lead, a great portion of these, and then a computerized system simply makes these purchases and deals and then transfers and then investments much faster than during the time of Daniel the prophet. We understand also IBM and Bitcoin, they have joined up, and Great Britain is then making sure and securing Bitcoin and its liquidity as far as the price of the coin, and also its profitability as far as the price, and also legalizing this new system of purchase, yet not linked with many central banks of the world. So then, as then the world becoming more electronic, and investments are becoming then by the push of a simple number on a keyboard of a computer, then it is important making sure taxes are deducted every time there is a transfer, or then there is a purchase, or sending monies and receiving monies, depending on if it's linked with the central bank or not, and then providing percentages of how much then the governments would deduct from these transactions. As we can understand, the system is becoming even more complicated, because the more the purchases are made, the more China becomes independent, and China holds 57% of the world's market. Then it is imperative the understanding of these percentages, so each nation can then deduct from this new system as per what they determine must be. So then the next time I'm going to evaluate more this topic, because tabernacling on the land of Cush and then on Daniel the 11th chapter must be also explained from the enlightenment of the new system of trade. Then we can understand Daniel the 11th chapter from the original manuscripts, and then linking up with Revelation and then Leviticus the 23rd chapter. It is truly not complicated, but it is very dense and then compacted. As you learn a new language, always takes some time in order to learn and practice the information, so then people can be enlightened and understand what's coming in the future. So please stay tuned, much more coming up.